Hello everyone, welcome to this session about what to expect when administrating HANA Cloud. And my name is Rüdiger Karl and I'm the speaker today. I'm a member of the HANA product management team, and let's start straight with the presentation, with the lecture. And what you see here is an overview about all the administration tasks you are facing in your daily operations with HANA Cloud as a database administrator. And what you see is that some of these tasks are managed by SAP because it's a managed HANA Cloud database. It's managed by SAP. And what you see here is that the lifecycle management is managed by SAP, covered like installing, updating components. The business continuity is managed by SAP, so you don't need to take care of taking backups, doing recovery, doing system replication, or configuring the setup. This is managed by SAP. To a certain extent, you can influence these activities by saying, okay, when would you like to upgrade, or how many replicas you would like to have for high availability, or for disaster recovery, or for system replication. This depends on the SLAs you have for your application, for your business. So you have some extent of control also for these tasks that are managed by SAP. And there are other tasks like for configuration, for security, or for monitoring, where SAP is doing some tasks or covering some tasks, and where you have also some duties to configure your database, to manage your database, or to monitor your HANA Cloud instance. One example is SAP is delivering default values for global parameters. And this is based on our experience that we made with HANA Cloud instances in our daily operations. And these default values, they ensure robustness, resilience, and reliability of the HANA Cloud instances. Other parameters can be configured from the database administrator of the customer. So you have here also a lot of flexibility. For security, SAP and HANA Cloud is encrypted by default, so all data at rest are encrypted. So this is something you don't need to take care, but user management, granting privileges, or configuring user access, all these things, this is something that you have under control. For monitoring, same here. You can monitor your HANA Cloud instance, and I will show you later on what tools we offer for doing that. But what we do from our side is that we observe HANA Cloud instances to notify customers in advance when any situations happens that require an activity on the customer side. Performance tuning and upkeep and maintenance, this is something that is really dependent on the workload and on the applications that are running on a HANA Cloud database. So that's something that the database administrator has under control. Okay, let's talk a bit about the tools that we are offering with HANA Cloud to support these tasks and to make your life easier. And first of all, we have a tool that's the HANA Cloud Central Tooling, where you have a central entry point to create database instances, to start, to upgrade, or to stop a database, but also a data lake instance. So both instances can be managed with HANA Cloud Central. You can monitor the status, the health status of these instances, and you can also migrate databases. I will come to that later as well. You can XML alerts or execute SQL statements. So all of this is provided with a central tooling as your entry point in your administration tasks. Another tool that we offer apart from HANA Cloud Central is the Database Explorer. And the Database Explorer, this is what you already know from HANA 2. And this is what we also offer with HANA Cloud, where you can browse the database catalog, where you have all the insights within the database about your database objects, where you can import and export data objects, where you can create remote sources, execute SQL statements or SQL scripts, and debug these SQL scripts. This database Explorer is very known to you, I guess, so I will focus more on HANA Cloud Central. So let's talk about this. What you can see here on the right side is a navigation pane where you see instances, migration, and alerts. They are kind of toolboxes. And the fourth one is missing. That's the SQL console that we are also offering, but it's not on the slide because the slides, they were prepared before we delivered this new tool in HANA Cloud Central. And what the cool thing is that you have all your instances in your BTP sub account listed, and you can do alert notification monitoring or SQL statements or instance administration. That's something you can do across these instances. So what you see here is you can search for instances, you can filter for notifications, filter for status, and just focusing on those instances that are really interesting, that needs really attention from you, and you can do activities across these instances. And this is a new feature, a new approach with HANA Cloud Central, which is really different from other tools that you know from HANA 2 maybe, where you have a single tooling for a single database. So here you have everything in one place in your BTP sub-account for all your HANA Cloud instances. You can also personalize this UI if you want, and also do some searches as said, and so on. When you click on one of these instances, you will see on the right side, so it will divide it into two sides. You will see on the right side in this UI a couple of KPIs about the health status of your instance. So first of all, you see some general KPIs about what version is this instance running, what is the availability zone, what is the backup size, and so on. You also see so-called cards. And if you click into these cards, you get to the applications for the monitoring. For migration, you can migrate from prior versions of HANA Cloud, like HANA Service in Neo and Cloud Foundry, or HANA On-Prem to HANA Cloud. Also a central tooling that when you create a migration, you get guided within Wizard through all the migration steps. So it's really error-proof and very safe to make all these migration steps. And the third one is alerts that you can filter for notifications and alerts. You can filter for severity and also for the time range. And then you can really focus on those warnings, errors in all your instances to recognize some patterns. And this is very, very useful. The fourth one, the SQL console, comes now and allows you to connect to multiple instances. And you see here in this screenshot, there's one tab opened to HCHDB to run a SQL command, but you can add a new tab, connect to another instance, and do the same SQL statement there. So very easy to switch from one HANA Cloud instance to another one. And this is here what you see as a SQL statement. When you click on one of the cards, you see here the memory, compute, storage, network. When you click on these cards, you come to a central monitor applications with all the KPIs, and where you have a hovering over the graph, displaying a legend with all the values at a certain time range. So very easy to see the consumption, the resource consumption for memory, CPU, storage, network. And this is the usage monitoring in HANA Cloud Central. Another card that you can see in the instance administration and in the monitoring is the native storage extension, a very well-known capability in HANA Cloud to reduce the memory footprint, to reduce TCO. And you see there immediately what kind of data you have in NSE. You see the buffer cache size here, and you can also see a buffer cache history about the usage, the top consumers, and so on. Data replication is also a very nice feature in the instance administration, because you can realize hybrid scenarios by connecting HANA 2 databases with HANA Cloud. You simply create a replication task, connect HANA Cloud with HANA on-prem or HANA 2, and offload data and offload workload to the HANA Cloud instance to execute analytics or other applications on these data. So this is a very easy way to realize hybrid scenarios with on-premise and HANA Cloud databases. User authorization and management, also a central piece of the instance management in HANA, instance administration in HANA Cloud. So like user and group management, role management, privileges, and missing privileges. And missing privileges is a nice feature because when you get an error message, you execute a SQL statement, you get an error message, you have no privilege, you get a GUID, you can enter this GUID here, and then you get all the privileges listed that are missing. And admission control. Yes, admission control is a kind of safety belt to avoid peak load situations for your HANA Cloud instance where the database is not responsive anymore. And with admission control, you can define thresholds to queue and reject incoming requests, and gives you another secure and safe way to keep HANA Cloud instances responsive. And here, as a managed database, SAP provides default values for admission control that keeps the database in a robust state. So that's something you usually do not touch, but in some cases it's necessary, and we provide here the right monitoring tools to do this configuration and to monitor. And there are other additional metrics here for the HANA Cloud central tooling. You can monitor SQL statements and analyze the most critical ones. You can monitor the sessions and also cancel sessions if you have really long-running statements and you would like to cancel them by going into this instance and cancel these sessions. Or user transactions to show what is the average number of user transactions going on and which are blocked, and what is the peak load. All right, then let's go over to the demo, and I think that's the most interesting part here because it's really live. It's a live system, it's not recorded. Here you see these kind of toolboxes in quotes with the instance administration. I can even say here the words, the migration alerts in SQL console. I already did a search on my instance, and you see all KPIs, how I provisioned it, and I added a replica. I get some notification here about upgrades. And when I click on this instance, I come to this site a UI, which is very convenient because I see here the instance. On the left side, on the right side, I see the key KPIs about backup size, etc., and the different cards that I have shown, like native storage extension, my most favorite one, because I'm a responsible also for native storage extension. But here you see all this information about NSE and also about the tables in NSE and so on. And with the buffer cache monitor, you can even have more details. But let's get back to the instance, right? So it's very easy here also to navigate back to the first page. You can then also here go to the migrations. No migration is running. I can start to create one, but I will not do. But what you can see is I can select the source type as said to define the migration, and then to get guided through the migration steps with this migration wizard. The next one is alerts. And here you see no alerts. Okay, let me then say, okay, are there any informations? And you will see there are some informations. I can now do some activities here. And it's really, really easy to handle across all these instances for HANA Cloud and the SQL console. Okay, I need to select a database, connect quite easy, do a select statement. Right, run it, right, it's good. Now I copy this and then I add another instance. I need to select one. I go to, let's say, this one, connect, and then I paste it and run the same statement in another database. So I can really switch between the instances with this HANA Cloud Central tooling. It's very easy, very convenient for you. And another nice feature is, let's say, when I go back to the instances and I go here, let's say I go to workload management, another card. What I can see here is I can go to related applications, which is nice because it gives you also some guidance what to do next based on the monitoring results that you have received or you have observed in this UI here to go to do further activities. So it's really a kind of context information you get with this UI. Okay, then let's go back, and I think that's it. Very quick how you can administrate HANA Cloud databases with the HANA Cloud Central tooling. So I did not demo the Database Explorer because it's quite known to you, I guess. So that's what I can show today and what I would like to give you for this lecture. And yeah, I think we can go over to the questions that we have. And
Live Q&A.
okay, there are a couple of questions, and so let me start with one question. Can HANA Cloud Replication be used to keep an offsite copy of an on-premise running ECC or S4 system? Yes, you can do it. That's exactly what I have demoed and shown to you. You can create a replication task or a replication task between your ECC or S4 system running on HANA 2. So you need a HANA 2 system here to create this replication and then replicate all the data that are needed to offload workload or to offload data into the HANA Cloud instance, and then really to build an SAC story on top of these data and to run your analytics on HANA Cloud. So it's absolutely valid that you have this HANA Cloud replication. And there is an optimized replication that we have introduced. It's the remote table replication that you can use if your HANA system for your S4 has SP5 and higher as a version. You can use the remote table replication as a very optimized way for your replication. Another question is, can we automate the deployment and config of an HANA database and HANA Cloud? To some extent you can automate because HANA Cloud itself is a BTP service, and in BTP you have also the so-called automation pilot. And with the automation pilot you can create scripts to do some automated configuration steps, or you can start or stop an HANA Cloud instance in a scheduled way, maybe to save costs. So this is something you can do, but it's outside of the HANA Cloud. it's in the automation pilot, just as an example how to automate. Another query or question, can HANA Cloud Central be used to schedule start and stops of an instance? This is what I said. It's not what we have in HANA Cloud Central yet. Maybe it's something we can provide in future, because HANA Cloud Central is evolving. We will be continuing, or we will continue the HANA Cloud Central tooling. What you can do is you can use the BTP automation pilot to schedule start and stops. But again, in future, we are also working on this feature for HANA Cloud Central. Another question is here, to refresh the HANA Cloud DBA from prod to test, what is the best practice? So here I would also recommend a remote table replication. You can use remote table replication also between HANA Cloud databases. It's quite easy to configure in your HANA Cloud instance to copy data from, for instance, from a production system to a test system. So this is one way, a remote table replication. Another way is export-import, right? So that's the usual way you may know from HANA too. You export from production, a schema, and you import this to your test system. So these are two approaches that I can recommend for the refreshing. All right. So I think other questions are already answered by the moderators. There are no more questions here on my end. So thank you for your attention. Hopefully you get some directions, recommendations for the HANA Cloud tooling for HANA Cloud Central and how this tool is supporting your daily administration tasks. So thank you for your attention and have a good rest of the TechEd.